Hey guys, it's your girl, Dinky, the nator, the mover, the shaker, the vibe creator, terminator, master of distraction. And for the very first time in my life, I'd like to share with you a vlog. And this vlog is most important because I am doing something that I want us all to experience. The reason why I want to experience it with you all, because I know that definitely and most definitely out here in the world, I'm not the only one. So basically, we all know that when a child is born, certain things are done into that family to make sure that the baby is welcome. You know, it can be their belief, their religion, their custom, but there is a certain something that is different from the other family that is done, whether they are Christians or whether they believe in maybe tradition, or maybe they are whatever beliefs, rather customs, morals, values that the family instills within. There is something that is being done to the family. Now, what happens when a father decides to walk out on a child? Now, that's a story of mine. I believe that I'm not the only child that has experienced something like that, and I will not even be the last child to experience something like that. So, when I was 4 years old, my dad left, and I don't know his reasoning. And I'm going to find out this weekend as to why he decided to do what he did. My dad left me when I was 4 years old, and then I reconnected with him. I think it was 2013, but at that time, he was still the same man that he was when he left, because my father had a huge problem with alcohol. He was an alcoholic, and he was very, very abusive towards my mother, be it physically and emotionally, spiritually, financially. And as young as I was, and now knowing the things that I know and seeing how things are, I can actually tell that what my mother was not in a happy place. So I lived, raised by my mom, and my mom is like that lady that made sure that we have the best of the best, because if we were playing with our friends, you wouldn't tell that we are raised by a single mother. She tried her best, okay? Long story short, she did all she could until we grew up. And, I got a message on my Facebook account, and I don't know, at that time, I was not responding to messages, but there's this particular one that I was very eager to just open it up and see what it's all about. And maybe because the surname is the same surname that I use, you know? So I opened the message, and it was one of my cousins just telling me who they are, where they're from, and how do they know me, and how much my father misses me, and how much he's talking about me. Right. That is not a problem, but the problem now is with me. You know, sometimes when you have that pride and you always tell yourself that it doesn't matter whether my dad is around or not, because my mother is doing the most for us as kids, so we don't literally need him. Because I always watch all these television programs where people are always crying and saying that my life hasn't been the same simply because my dad was not around. So for me, I never felt that, because my mother covered everything and made sure that we are sorted, my sister and I, my late sister and I. It's like I'm the only surviving child now. My sister passed away due to lung infection in 2016 on the 1st of September. May her soul rest in peace, and I will forever have her in my heart. So it never bothered me that much, not knowing that while it's not bothering me, it's affecting me big time. Not even small time, but big time. It was affecting me kakulu, as in like big time. So I was not aware that my father not being around in my life is gonna have a huge impact into my life. But I know that something was wrong. I knew that something was wrong because when it came to relationships, I feel like I was a toy in a sense that I played people and people played me. But I would say that I was also played in a sense that I was looking for love at wrong places, and I was thinking I'm loved at places where I was not loved because I never got that love. So anything that seemed to be different from what my mother used to give me, I would consider it as love because my dad was not around to show me that a male is supposed to love, because like a daughter's first love is their father. So he was not around to teach me that a man actually should treat you better than I am treating you now. That's gonna be the man that's gonna be your husband. So anything that breathed at that time and anything that was making sense for me at that time, depending on the age while I was dating, was a man for me. And funny enough, half of them I've seen and I've conquered. I remember I was in one relationship that I valued so much, and everybody around me used to ask me like, what do you see in this guy? And for me, it was not about that. And I was working, and he was hustling. I wouldn't even call it work, but I loved that guy. I used to even buy him clothes. I used to do all the good things that a girlfriend that sees a future. I don't know what I was seeing, because like definitely it's not a future. But at that time, for me, there was something with substance and something to hold on. And I kept on holding on into the relationship. And I remember this one time we were working on a Saturday, and I was not around, not knowing that he had already found himself another girlfriend. So obviously everything that I was doing around him, it was now becoming like I'm a nuisance. He didn't want me in his life anymore, but he couldn't tell me, because now on this specific Saturday, this girl was going to come around and visit. So I am here. I remember asking him to come and fetch me. He had to go and fetch me, and I wanted him to be just next to me. And in the meantime, that girl, the new girl that is in his life, is waiting for him to come back by his friend's place, and he's not pitching. And you could see that he was so frustrated because he was typing on his phone. Maybe he was communicating that I'm coming, but I couldn't let him go. And that day, you know what he did? He asked me to get into the car with him so that we'll go to the nearest garage. He wanted to fill his car with petrol, and we went there. And then the phone started ringing so much that he couldn't ignore it anymore. And that's when he started to cause some bullshit, something that will cause an argument for us. And I remember him opening the door while he was driving. He took his other hand and he opened the door and he pushed me. But that's not even why I'm actually doing this. But it's one of the things that made me see that even after that incident, when the ambulance came and I was admitted in hospital there in Durban, I still had feelings for him. I still wanted to fight for the relationship. But people were super amazed as to like, what are you fighting for? Because the guy doesn't want you anymore. Why are you fighting? So, those are one of the things that make me believe that if my dad was around, I don't think that any other guy would have treated me like that. Because also, even me, maybe there are certain things that I don't know that I do that my dad would have taught me that don't ever, ever do this to a guy. A guy will be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but they didn't. So, I started living my life because now I've grown, right? I'm no longer living with my mom. So I'm living at my own place. Like that was when immediately after I finished my secondary school. So things didn't work out nicely, but for me, it was normal because like I was suffering just like any other person would suffer. Sometimes I'm good and sometimes I'm not okay. But it started when things started to fall apart to an extent that something needs to be done. But at that time, I didn't know that something needs to be done on my paternal side of the family. So as an African child, if you know anything about spirituality, you will know that the paternal side of the family is the most important side of the family. So me, when I do my own thing, I call upon the ancestors on my mother's side. And also, this is not about you having to judge as to like, oh, God this, God that. We understand that it is your belief. Do not impose it on me and force me to be like, oh, you are not supposed to believe in ancestors. God is your only mighty savior. Because I know that Christians are very, very judgmental when it comes to other people. They want to impose their belief on other people. So I believe in what I believe, and I would like for that to be respected. So things haven't been working out for me. I don't want to make this a very long coming thing, because today it's, what date is it? It's the 5th of October. I went to prophets. I even went to as far as going to church. I went to so many people to consult, and I'm told the same thing. I will not go deep into it, but I just wanted you guys to be part of this experience that I'm going to have. I'm going to go to my family for the first time in a long time. For the very first time, actually, I'm going to meet everybody that I never knew. It's gonna be uncomfortable, so I'd rather have you on my cameras. And this is going to happen on Saturday. Actually, it's going to happen on Friday, because that's when they're going to slaughter for me. They're introducing me actually to the family. They're introducing me to the ancestors. They're introducing me to like that their culture, their customs, their morals. They are introducing me to something that I didn't know at the time, and they are also making sure that I am guarded and I'm also protected, so that whenever maybe I have to do any other thing, I know that from the father's side everything is set, because I know that I grew knowing the only family that I knew, and the only family that supported me was the family from my mother's side. So at this current moment, it's going to be easy because of the fact that they are doing this ceremony for me, and I will fully recognize myself as one of theirs, because I've been using their surname for years, but never have I ever met none of them. And the last time I had to see my dad was when my dad left me. A story for another day, a story for another time. But it is a whole 30-minute, 1 hour kind of a story time of how he left me, but he did. But I'm not dwelling into that. I'm super happy. I have forgiven my dad, and I have seen that since I have started communicating with my father, there's a lot going on, positivity, and there's a lot of change, and there's a lot of growth. Even in my marriage, there are certain things that were not working out properly, and my husband is not aware to the fullest, and he's not around. He has traveled, but he's gonna come back today. So I'm gonna sit him down and tell him that this is the situation that is taking place, and then on Friday I am leaving and I'm going home, my new home, the home that existed but never existed. I'm going there, and they're gonna slaughter. So the ceremony is gonna be like a 2-day ceremony. So I'm gonna vlog. I'm definitely gonna vlog. I just want to experience this by with you guys. So what's gonna happen is that after I do that, after, like, when I get there, because I know that I'm going to be shy, I don't know people, I would rather be holding my phone or my camera like this and be vlogging around, so that at least I will know that I'm at a safe space, because I don't know anybody there. It's going to be my first time meeting everybody that is there. So in Zulu, what they're actually doing is something called imbeleko. So imbeleko is actually a ceremony that is done when a child is born, so that they will be introduced nicely into the family spiritually and also physically, so that they will be known and recognize that they belong to that particular family, right? So my dad married my mom, but he never did that. By the time I was born, he was already starting with his bullshit as a father. He was already started with his bullshit of cheating, and also getting drunk and not sleeping at home and all these things. So when my mom tells me that when he was supposed to do that for me, he ended, like, he was just very defensive about it, because my mother also tells me that she remember taking me to a church at St. John's, so that I will be at least baptized, if not go to my dad's family and something should be done. At least there should be something that should be done. And my dad took that certificate that I got from baptism, and he tore it apart into pieces. And I think sometimes, and he cursed it. I don't know what he did with the papers, but also I feel like he added some of the things that are happening into my life that are not positive, even though life is about your own choices, personal choices that you make. But it's in the spiritual life, certain things that are said unto you or cursed unto you can have a very huge impact upon your life in a very negative way. So I feel like also he contributed to that. So I'm going to be breaking the chain this Saturday. It's going to be scary. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know their culture. I don't know how it's supposed to be done. But what I know is that it's going to be done. And I want you guys to also be part of it, so that we will all together experience this thing called life, of being introduced to my family. But you know what? I trust and believe that my ancestors will be with me, my mom's side of the family, and also my original ancestors. I don't think that they don't recognize me. I feel like maybe some certain things needs to be done. And for me to continue with the journey that I'm supposed to continue with, as far as Ubanes Tunya is concerned, I literally need to do this thing. And I remember when I made a request to my dad, I told him that if you set a date, please make sure that you are going to adhere to this date. Because like, I'm very scared. Like, I'm very scared of rejection again for the second time. Because like, if you manage to leave your child until you meet them at this specific time, at this specific age, what are the chances that you set a date and then nothing is going to happen, or nobody's going to be there, or what the things are? I'm nervous, but I'm hopeful. And also at the same time, he's been calling nonstop, and also his brothers and also his sisters has been calling, and everybody has been saying that they can't wait to meet me. They even put me in a WhatsApp group. Okay, dodgy, but yeah. So I am in the family WhatsApp group. Not that I'm excited. It's not like it's. I don't know how to explain it. I'm happy that my dad and me are actually working onto our relationship, but I'm not excited about having that type of family, because I'm definitely sure that he's been talking about me, and that is why the cousin made sure that they go to Facebook and find me. If they wanted to find me, I would rather actually be friends with the one that found me, because if they wanted me to be found, they could have actually made efforts. But for me to meet them, it's gonna be okay, but it's gonna stay there. I think I'm old enough now. I don't think I have time to learn to know each and every cousin of mine. And another big thing is that my dad had a daughter. So now, you remember, guys, that I told you that it was two of us, me, my sister, and my sister had passed on. 2 kids that my mother had. And I just recently found out that I have a 42-year-old elder sister. And she looks exactly like me, but older than, you understand? I've got a sister that I have been having a communication with on WhatsApp, but I've never met her. I just see her on Facebook, like her pictures, communicate a little bit here and there, because we don't know each other. So there's nothing more to talk about. So I am I'm excited and I'm nervous at the same time, because I'll be meeting her for the very first time. And it can make you, or it can even break you, that moment. So I want you guys to experience this with me. And yes, I am that child that was abandoned by their dad, and that is why sometimes maybe I'm bitter and I'm not loving and I'm not caring, and sometimes I just have the spirit of I don't give a fuck, because I build a wall, because I know that if my father could just leave me like that, any other person could leave me like that. Do you understand? So at this point, I'm fixing that. And I can see a lot of warmth and a lot of love that I'm receiving from people that have been around me, including my husband, as I mentioned, that there's a lot of change since I started having this communication, because life is spiritual. There was a time when I was saying that I don't need him, but now I can see that at the end of the day, bruh, your paternal side of the family is shit. You have to do it. So I'm doing this and I'm so excited, and I would like for you to tune in, and I will drop the video for you, and it's going to be nice, I hope. And I don't know whether, I haven't been there. My grandmother is alive, and she is a bit old. I think she's 89 years old. So I'm going to meet each and every person there. And for me, it's life-changing because also my mother was one of the people that didn't want me to have any communications when I was a bit younger, trying to find them. And my mother would tell me all these horrible stories. So I would believe her because she was the one that was feeding me and clothing me and taking me to school. What about the man that left me? But I then stopped looking for him because my mother was doing everything for me, as I mentioned. And my mother kind of painted a picture like they are the most horrible people in the world. So those are the type of things that I'm going to just survey, sit back and look at and be like, okay, I ain't doing this, but I have to do it at the end of the day. And whatever. But it's scary and it's exciting at the same time. So first of all, I am meeting my father for the very first time after he left me. He left me, there was 19 what? No, that was not 19. That was what? 19, 2, 93, 4, 5. In 1996. My dad left me in 1996. I'll be meeting him now in 2022. And then I'll be meeting my grandmother, my father's mother, whom is 90. No, I don't think she's 80 something, but I'll figure everything out when I get there. I'm gonna meet my sister, something that God took away from me, but then I've gained another one, and she's pretty. And then I'm going to meet my aunties and my uncles and all my cousins. So it's a life-changing experience for me, and it's going to allow me to blossom because the reason also why I was not around, like I've been struggling to make things happen. Everything I touch just fades away, or it just scatters out and it doesn't work out due to some spirituality situation that I'm gonna deal with. And I'm happy to be sharing these news with you. So for now, I would like to love and leave you, but just be on the lookout for a girl that will be going to the vow to go and look for her dad, and they're going to do a little bit of something. Oh, another thing, they said that my family members love alcohol, so do not be scared when you see everybody just tumbling and rumbling. Anyways, my dad left me because of alcohol, but I'm not an alcoholic, but I will be having some babe so that I will not be nervous. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this mini video. Do make sure that you do subscribe, like, comment, share, and do whatever that it is that needs to be done so that we will be cool. But I'm happy and I'm glad that I'm sharing this platform with you guys because you've been with me for the longest time, and I love you and I appreciate you. Mwah.